everyone. I decided to go live. I don't know how long I'll be able to go live. It's breakfast time here, and I'm making lunch. So I might have to end the live when the little one gets fussy. Eat? Hmm? I can give you some juice. You want some juice? But anyways, I I have been like really thinking about the world, not just manifestation. And usually I teach on manifestation, and I'm working on my other content. But I guess I've been really philosophical lately. I've been getting more into like the mysticism that's within the Quran, and I've been watching other creators who have been like teaching on the link between New Age manifestation and what the Quran has already revealed to us. And it's been so interesting. It's been really interesting. And one of the biggest things is that, like, especially like the way that other religions teach, and I don't know as much about, I don't know as much about Judaism, um, excuse me, or Hinduism, or Sikhism, or Buddhism, but in general, um, Christianity is the big one that really teaches that we're separate from God, that God is this force outside of us, that we have to pray to, that we have to ask from. Um, and it really preaches like separation. It's like, it really preaches a distancing between self and God. And I think that that can be really harmful. And I know it was harmful for me, which is why I rejected Christianity at such a young age. I was 8 years old when I stopped buying into what the church was saying, because I was like, that it sounds good sometimes, but a lot of times it just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sit right. What you're saying doesn't make sense to me. Um, and largely I couldn't accept that there was a God outside of us that was separate from us, that we're supposed to ask. It just felt like being an ant in an ant farm, and I don't know, it just doesn't, it still to this day confuses me how people can see God as separate. And um really, like the way Islam describes God being closer to us than our own jugular vein. And there's nothing closer to you than something that's inside of you, right? So if God is telling us that he is closer to us than something that is already inside of us, inside of our bodies, how can you be closer to us than being inside of our bodies? It's about as close as it gets. um and so it's really interesting to see how people try to rationalize and justify it, and it just doesn't make any sense. But the way that I see it basically is the reason we are not separate, and the reason that God is closer, the way God can be closer to us than our jugular vein. Hi to everybody saying in the chat. What am I making? I am making some chicken soup. It is soup season. Um, Really good to make soup from scratch. I have bone broth on the stove. I'm chopping garlic. Anyways, so if you really think about it and sit there for a minute, it's not hard to come up with an answer of how can God be closer to you than your jugular vein? Then how can he be closer to you than being inside of your physical body? And really, like, what are you, your body? That's the real question to answer. Are you your body, or is your body an extension of you? Is it an expression of you? It's a part of you, right? And I think when we look at it that way, it starts to make more and more sense, this no separation thing. Because ultimately, you can never be separate from your mind. Like, sure, hard to compare with the jugular vein, but we have two kidneys, for example. You can live without one of your kidneys. Therefore, you are not your kidney. You are not your body. Your body is just an expression. It's an extension. It's what allows you. It's what Oh, come on. There you go, buddy. It's what allows you to be in this world as you. It's what allows you to have a physical experience. It's what allows you to breathe and move and have a human experience, right? Like it is it is just a vessel. It's just a containment for you. It is just a feature of this reality, but it's not you. Not really. Because if it were you, then you would cease to exist after death. And in the Quran, we don't believe that. In most other, and the other Abrahamic religions and most other religions, they don't believe that either. One of the commonalities amongst most religions is that there's a soul. There's this essence of you, this non-physical part of you that exists outside of you, which is also why if you've ever seen a deceased body, if you've ever been to a funeral or had the unfortunate circumstance of discovering someone deceased, you can tell that they're not there anymore. Like when you see a dead body, you can tell that they're not there anymore. You can just feel the absence of what was. And especially like I've had people pass in my family that I knew, that I saw living, I spoke to, I had relationships with. And so when I saw them no longer in their vessel, it's a very trippy, confusing, discomforting experience because there's a sense of you that knows that that person's not there. And yet, if you go in your mind and you think about the person who's gone, like the feeling of them lives in you. The feeling of them lives in your memory. It lives in how you continue to carry them with you. Like one of the greatest examples of this is Mo Gadat. He lost his son. He's an author. Um, what did he write? The Happiness Formula or something like that. But basically, the passing of his son motivated him to solve for happy. That actually might be the title of it. It motivated him to be a different version of himself, and in that way, he's kept his son alive through the work that he's chosen to do. And if you can keep someone alive in your thoughts, if you can keep someone alive in your emotions, then you are not your body. And so what the body's purpose is to serve to allow you to move and right eat and feel and explore and have all these physical sensations and physical experiences here, but you are not your body. And so whatever you want to call it, a soul or whatever, we all understand that there's this non-physical part of you. And that non-physical part of you can't die because the non-physical part of you comes from God. It is God. It is the energy of God. And so when we come to this world and we have this experience as you, right? As this person, you are you because you're like a character in a show. You're playing this part. You're playing this role. You are acting out whatever this person whatever this person is, whoever he, she, they are, like whatever you're being is just this experience of you. But it's not really you. It's a part you're playing, which is why I mean anybody who's lived enough life, especially past puberty, right? I've changed so much. I'm not the same person that I was like a year ago. I'm not the same person that I was in high school. I'm not the same person that I was in middle school. I'm not the same as I was when I was a young child, right? And so the idea that we can constantly change and we're constantly being reborn to our new self shows that we're not this. We're just an expression. We are a story writing itself. And truly the author is God, but we're in this illusion in this world of separation. And so we see God as separate, and as a child before the age of 7, you usually know like God isn't separate from you. They tend to have a deeper understanding of this world, and then I think this world conditions that natural understanding out of us. And so what tends to be the case from there is we have to remember, we have to relearn that God isn't separate from us. We have to relearn that we always have access to God. We have to understand that this world of separation is meant to, it's meant to challenge us, and it writes a better story, basically. It's just a better story to go through these character changes. It's a better story to go through challenges. It makes for a very interesting experience. And so when you ask yourself, like, why did God create all this? What's the purpose of all this? What's the meaning? Do you want your juice? What's the meaning of all this? It's very simple to see. It's really, really easy to understand that if God is not separate from anything, God is not separate from his creations, God is not separate from anything that exists, where's the fun in being one? Right? Like, this is just a potato. It's just a single potato. There's nothing that special about it. Cool, you can season it, you can cook it different ways, but it's just a potato. But when you turn it into a soup, right, then you have carrots and you have chicken and you have, veggies and garlic and onion and whatever else you want to put in the soup, and it makes it a different experience. And so it's interesting, like, this universe is kind of like a giant soup. There's just different parts, but when you take a bite of soup, you don't say, oh, I'm having carrot and potato and celery and onion and garlic and chicken and bone broth and salt and herbs and seasonings, right? Like, you call it soup. And in that same way, like, you don't say that you're here having this experience and identify everything as separate. You kind of like group it all together as a whole. And so this whole of you contains all possibilities, all versions of you. Um, and so it's really interesting to see the way that we are so conditioned to believe that we're separate from God. We're conditioned to believe also by extension of that we're separate from our desires. We're conditioned to believe that we're separate from anything that we want to have. We're conditioned to believe that we're separate from the past. We're conditioned to believe that we're separate from the future. And actually, the past and the future both exist in the now. And for a lot of you, that's going to go over your head. But when you really think about it, the past doesn't exist anymore. And even time in itself is a human construct. But the past existed in the now moment, but that now moment is not this now moment. And that's as simple as it gets. And from there, we understand that the future also doesn't exist. The future exists in the now, right? I'm going to work tomorrow, for example. So when I create that future vision for myself, when I say I'm going to, that still exists in the now. And so there's no separation between you and God. There's no separation between you and your desires. There's no separation between you and the past. There's no separation between you and the future. It's the illusion of separation so that we can have this experience. It creates this experience. It gives you the right environment to have what feels like a separate story from somebody else. But one of the most beautiful illustrations of no separation, of non-duality, is what I'm talking about. If you haven't heard non-duality or understood non-duality, basically it's the idea that God is one, the force of God is one, and everything comes from God. Therefore, there is no separation. There's a oneness of God in this world. God exists to me in everything created in matter, everything that lacks matter, all the space, all the everything. It's all part of God. It's all an expression of God. And it took me a long time to really understand that and really start to believe that because of how the Christian faith contorted my worldview, my perception. And so it's really enlightening then to move forward and learn about manifestation and understand the quantum mechanics of this world are even proving what Islamic scholars and of all faiths have been talking about. No separation. All faiths have been talking about the way to achieve peace within yourself, the way to achieve desire, Nana juice. So a lot of times people struggle with manifestation. People really have a hard time with manifestation. The camera lens isn't dirty, it's just the lighting. I have a LED strip here under my counter. Can't do anything about that. But basically, the reason manifestation is so difficult for most people is because they believe it is outside of them. They believe their desires are over there and they're over here. And bridging the gap is impossible in the external world if you don't first believe that it's physical. Or, sorry, that it's mental, that it's there for you in your mind, in your heart, in this being. You have to get this right. And then you are not the one moving and making things happen with your action. It just feels that way. Because two people can take the same action, but how they do it will define how successful they are. Two people could do almost exactly the same thing. I mean, if you've ever seen like people who have the same product they're trying to sell, one person can be extraordinarily successful and the other person will fail. And we wonder why. If you're doing all the right things, why are you still failing? Because you don't actually believe. You're not actually exercising your faith. And what's actually, well, and there's a caveat to that, because you are exercising your faith. You're just exercising your faith in the belief that you don't have it. You're exercising your faith in this separation. You're exercising your faith that you're here and what you desire is over there. You're exercising the faith that it's not going to happen for you. You're exercising the faith that I've done everything right and I still don't have it. Or this method doesn't work. Or I've been trying and failing. But you have just as much faith in that as you would need to actually have the life that you want. If you stop believing in lack, if you stop believing in doubt, if you stop believing in fear, then you shift to this, oh, I get to have it now. You close that gap of separation. You close the illusion of separate. Like you eliminate the illusion of separation. And by doing so you close the gap. So the more that you look at your desires as outside of you, as something separate from you, the further they're going to feel, the further they're going to the further you're going to experience them being in your world because you're seeing them as separate. But the more that you can practice looking within and going, it's here, I have it, this is what it feels like to have it, this is what it feels like to normalize it, this is what it feels like to experience it, this is what it smells like, it sounds like, it feels like, it tastes like, it whatever other all the senses, right? And also emotionally, what does it feel like to have it? if you're if you've ever been like a kid about to go on a field trip, you've experienced this. Like in your mind before bed, you're so excited and you're like thinking about like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go there and it's going to be so great and it's going to be so interesting, and you feel the excitement that you're anticipating that you're going to feel when you have this experience. And oftentimes that level of excitement that you can generate just imagining it is actually just as intense as when you do go and experience it. It's just as powerful to you. It's just as real to you. And you can practice doing these, visualizations where you put yourself in a place that you've been before and you remember what that place smells like. You remember what it sounds like. Like, I grew up in a beach town. And if I imagine myself at those beaches, I know what those beaches smell like. I remember what they smell like. I remember what the sand feels like under my feet and in between my fingers, right? I remember not all beaches have the same type of sand. Some have very fine sand and some have more coarse sand. And this beach is kind of more in the middle towards the coarse side. And so I can imagine that I can feel it in my hands. I can remember all of the sensations, and it makes it real in this moment now. And when I do that, I bring the past to here and now. And we can do the same with the future. We can bring the future to the here and now, because even if it's something you haven't experienced before, let's say you've never been to a beach before, you live somewhere in a landlocked area where beaches just aren't a thing, and your body of water just has mud around it and rocks, and there's not sand like a beach has. And it's not, it's fresh water, not salt water. If you go in your mind and you think, what would the beach sound like? What do I think it would sound like? What would I think it would feel like? What do I think it'll smell like? What do I know about the beach, and how can I factor that into strength in my visualization, and be able to uh sorry, I don't do lives very much, like, so there's all kinds of things popping on the screen that I don't someone sent a heart, I guess. Thank you for that. Um Anyways, so you can make the beach. What happened? You can make the beach real for you. Hi. Hi. You can make the beach real for you here and now, just through your visualization, through the power of your mind, through imagining what it's going to feel like. And so I've previously described imagination as like a portal, and it's like a portal that allows you to access the qualities of God. So God is omniscient, God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent. So whatever limitation you see yourself having, whatever lack you believe that you have in this human body as this version of you, when you go into imagination, it bridges those gaps. It allows you to put yourself somewhere that you're not currently at. If I imagine what my mom's house looks like, and if I imagine myself stepping into my mom's house, walking through the house, if I imagine, opening the bathroom door over there and like seeing what's inside the bathroom, if I imagine like what color her shower curtain is, like I could close my eyes and put myself there. And it would feel so real to me that when I opened my eyes, it would feel kind of foreign. If you visualize and sit in visualization and in meditation long enough, the visualization almost becomes more real than where your physical body is at. And so it's really interesting to see, like, the the science of it is starting to affirm what spiritualists have already known. And so it's really helpful to know that there's no separation. It's very helpful to know that you're not separate from your desires. Very helpful to know that you're not separate from God. It's very helpful. And I mean, it's the only way. It's really the only way to manifest, is to realize that there is no separation, that there's a oneness, that when things feel difficult, it's because you're viewing it from a state of lack. When things feel difficult, uh-uh. Let me see what I can give you. You want some pineapple? You want to eat? Eat more? It's almost impossible to manifest if you're seeing things separately, if you're seeing yourself as separate from your desires. Pineapple? No? I think he just wants me. And I don't show my son on social. So I'm gonna have to go. But the message of today and what I wanted to talk about is that there is no separation. That we're not separate from God. That God is so close to us because he's in here, right? Like he's powering this whole show. And so the more that we realize that God is not far away, the easier it becomes to realize that our desires are not far away either. That whatever it is you're dreaming for, whatever it is that you want to have in this world, whatever experience that is, in order to bring it closer to you, it's not about forcing and grinding and making it happen. It's about moving through life with a trust, with a faith that it's coming towards me, that I'm here having this experience, and the reason it feels separate is because I've previously believed it's separate. But the moment that you convince yourself that it's here, you don't have to grind, you don't have to push, you don't have to force, because it's already here and it's already done. And that's why you hear so many manifestation teachers say it's already here, it's already done, it's already yours, because it is as soon as you decide it is. And in the meantime, as things unfold, the point is to have an experience. The point is to cook and eat and dance and play and love and share experiences with your fellow human being, because it's a beautiful story, because you get to enjoy your life. You get to enjoy how you move through this world. You get to enjoy all of the sensations that come with that. You get to enjoy all of the emotions that come with that, because yes, we most of the time we don't like to say that we enjoy being sad or we enjoy being angry or we enjoy grieving or experiencing negative emotions, but those negative emotions just provide feedback. They're just contrasts. They tell us, oh, I don't want to experience this experience anymore. I'd rather go in the other direction. And that's helpful. It's all helpful data. It's all very helpful information. And so it's really beautiful. It's really amazing when you start to actually practice this, because manifestation gets way easier. So just remember, you're not separate from your desires and you're not separate from God. And the second that you realize that, you allow yourself, you give yourself permission to have what it is that you desire, to have what it is that you feel separate, and just give it to yourself now. Experience it now. Experience the joy that you would have having it now. And the unfolding will happen naturally. You'll naturally be guided and pulled towards whatever that next step is to make your desire happen, really to allow your desire to come to you. And one final message before I cut this off so I can hang out with my love. Basically, why is my kid dark? Because his dad is dark. Are you? Did you not take science class? Like, doesn't everybody understand how genetics works? That's so silly. Anyways, the final thing I was gonna say, I don't even remember. Lost my train of thought there. But basically, your desires get to be yours now as soon as you allow them to. So God is always trying to give you your desires. God is always trying to move you towards your desires. God is always trying to help you to see where you're missing the mark so that you can have your desires. And desires in the first place come from God. So that's it for today's live. I'm going to go hang out with my love, and I hope you all have a good one.